Welloxme, to Media Storm Cooper. Now let's begin with our top story. In the world of American politics, where visibility often equals influence, one figure continues to stand apart. Melania Trump, the current First Lady, has once again chosen a path that sets her noticeably apart from many who have held her position before. While her husband occupies the center of national attention, she maintains a careful distance from the daily back and forth of political life. Observers and those familiar with her circle have long asked the same question. Is this distance a deliberate strategy, or does it reflect something more personal? Let us look at the record with care. During the 2024 presidential campaign, Melania Trump appeared far less frequently on the trail than many expected. She did not join her husband at numerous rallies or high-profile events in the way some previous candidates' spouses had done. When asked directly about her involvement, her responses remained brief and measured. She offered public support for her husband's bid, stating clearly that he had her backing and that she looked forward to a stronger future for the country. Yet those words came without the sustained schedule of appearances that often define such roles. This pattern did not begin in 2024. Throughout Donald Trump's first term in office, Melania Trump defined her time as First Lady in her own way. She focused on specific initiatives, most notably the Be Best program aimed at promoting well-being among children. She spoke about online safety, opioid awareness, and the importance of kindness. These efforts brought her into public view on her chosen terms, often through carefully planned events rather than spontaneous political engagement. She traveled abroad on diplomatic visits, hosted leaders at the White House, and carried out the ceremonial duties expected of the position. Still, she spoke less often than many of her predecessors and avoided diving deeply into partisan debates. Now, in this second term, the pattern continues with some evolution. Sources close to the family describe her as privately influential while remaining publicly selective. She has signaled plans to expand her work on children's issues, including a renewed and broadened version of her earlier initiative. Recent reports indicate she has hosted global gatherings focused on fostering opportunities for young people, bringing together representatives from dozens of nations to discuss education, technology, and collaboration beyond borders. In these settings, her emphasis stays on practical outcomes for children rather than ideological battles. At the same time, she has made clear that she does not view herself as bound by traditional expectations of constant political visibility. One account from someone familiar with her social circle in New York and Palm Beach put it plainly: politics is not her world. She operates within a small, trusted group of family and close friends. She does not appear overly concerned with how her level of public activity might be interpreted in Washington's political circles. This approach stands in contrast to her husband's more constant presence in the public eye. So, what explains this consistent choice? Analysts and longtime observers point to several possible factors. One is personality. From her early days in the spotlight, Melania Trump has projected a sense of privacy and reserve. Born in Slovenia, she built a career in modeling before moving to the United States. She has often spoken about valuing quiet moments and protecting her personal space, especially when raising her son, Barron. The intense scrutiny that comes with life in the White House can feel at odds with that preference. Friends have described her as someone who thinks carefully before speaking and who prefers substance over spectacle. Another element may be experience. Having already served 4 years in the East Wing, she entered this second period with a clearer sense of what the role demands and what it does not. She has said publicly that preparing for this return felt different because she and her husband now understand the pace and the needs more fully. They know how to set up an office, how to bring in the right people, and how to move quickly from the start. This knowledge seems to have given her confidence to define her contributions more narrowly and on her own schedule. There is also the matter of family priorities. Melania Trump has always placed significant emphasis on her role as a mother. During the transition periods and beyond, she has balanced time between Washington, Palm Beach, and New York. She has been present for major White House events while also maintaining space for private life. Those who watch these matters closely note that she appears deliberate in protecting that balance. In interviews, she has spoken warmly about family and the importance of stability amid the demands of public service. Yet questions persist about whether deeper personal dynamics play a part. Public appearances have sometimes shown moments of noticeable distance between the couple. Body language experts and commentators have analyzed photos and videos, debating what they reveal. Some see tension, others see simply two strong-willed individuals who express themselves differently. Melania Trump has rarely addressed such speculation directly, choosing instead to let her actions and occasional statements speak for themselves. In her memoir and other public comments, she has expressed love and respect for her husband while maintaining her own perspective on various issues. On policy matters, she has at times taken positions that differ in tone from the broader political conversation around her. Her memoir touched on topics such as women's rights in ways that some found unexpected. She has voiced concern over issues affecting families, including immigration and child welfare, often framing them through a lens of compassion rather than strict partisanship. When she does speak on current events, her words tend toward calls for unity and peace. After incidents of violence or division, she has urged Americans to come together and to protest when they must, without destruction. This selective engagement raises an important discussion about the nature of the First Lady's role itself. Unlike elected positions, the responsibilities of a president's spouse remain largely undefined by law or constitution. Over the decades, different women have shaped the job according to their interests and personalities. Some became powerful advocates for major causes, others focused on hosting and diplomacy. Melania Trump appears to be carving out a version that prioritizes curation over constant visibility. She fulfills key expectations, attending state events, supporting her husband when she chooses, advancing chosen initiatives, while declining to treat every political moment as her own. Critics sometimes argue that this approach leaves a gap. They suggest that greater public involvement could strengthen certain messages or humanize the administration in ways that policy speeches alone cannot. Supporters counter that forcing someone into a mold that doesn't fit serves no one. They point out that authenticity matters and that Melania Trump has never pretended to be someone she is not. Her reserved style, they say, reflects confidence rather than disinterest. As this term progresses, signs point to continued selective participation. She is engaged with international audiences on children's futures, including events that bring technology and education into focus. She has presided over gatherings that draw global attention to collaboration rather than confrontation. These moments allow her to exercise influence without becoming entangled in the daily partisan cycle that dominates much of Washington. Privately, those who know her describe a woman who remains steady and clear-eyed about her boundaries. She does not chase headlines or seek to insert herself into every debate. Instead, she appears to weigh each commitment against her own sense of purpose and the well-being of her family. In an era when public figures often feel pressure to comment on everything, her restraint stands out. Of course, no public figure operates in complete isolation. Melania Trump's choices inevitably draw commentary. Some praise her independence. Others wonder whether it limits her potential impact. The truth likely lies somewhere between. Her distance from routine political combat may protect her from the exhaustion and criticism that come with constant exposure. At the same time, it leaves room for her to speak with greater weight when she does choose to engage. Looking ahead, the coming years will reveal more about how she shapes her second time in the East Wing. Will she expand her Global Children's Initiative into something lasting? Will she take on additional causes that align with her values? Or will she continue to move between public duty and private life with the same measured pace she has shown so far? What seems clear is that Melania Trump approaches her position with a strong sense of self. She supports her husband and the broader goals they share, yet she does so without surrendering her own identity or preferences. In a political culture that often rewards loudness and constant presence, her quieter approach invites reflection on what effective contribution really looks like. This is not the story of absence for its own sake. It is the story of a woman who has consistently chosen intention over obligation, whether that choice stems primarily from strategic calculation, protecting her image, conserving energy, maximizing impact, or from deeply personal instincts about privacy and family, may never be fully known to outsiders. Perhaps it is both. As Americans watch the rhythms of this administration, Melania Trump's path offers a reminder that even within the most public of Roles. Space remains for individual definition. She continues to walk her own line, present when it matters to her, reserved when it does not. In doing so, she adds another chapter to the evolving story of what it means to stand beside power without being consumed by it. We will continue to follow these developments with care. For now, the question remains open, as it has for years. How much of Melania Trump's distance is calculation, and how much is simply who she is? Only time and her own choices will tell.